Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of discussing about our climate and our environment. And today I would like to talk to you about the benefits of trees. The Prophet ﷺ, he gave us some. He talked to us about some benefit of trees, and we have to remember that the environment where he lived in, that it was like bare, and it was desert, right? And rocky mountains. There were no rivers, not much water, and very scarce greenery, and so not much rain. So he was very strong about that we need to protect the trees, yeah, safeguarding nature, maintaining and expanding it. So there was even a ban of tree felling, yeah, and hunting, yeah, in certain areas to protect the trees and the plants, and he also planted them. So few things that the Prophet ﷺ said about it. There's one, for example, a famous one: if one of you at the end of time can plant a tree, let him do that, even if it's the last thing he has the power for. This one is in Al-Bukhari. Yeah, so even if you're the last deed you can do, you know, before the end of the world, do it. So it shows that the Prophet ﷺ emphasized the importance of trees a lot. He also said there was he used to stand by a tree when he was doing the sermon, khutbah, yeah, and then an Ansari woman asked, like, shall we make a pulpit for you to do the khutbah from? And the Prophet ﷺ said, if you wish. And so they made a pulpit for him. And then the next Friday, he proceeded towards the pulpit for delivering the sermon, the khutbah. And the date palm actually cried like a child. And the Prophet came down from the pulpit and embraced the date palm, while it continued moaning like a child being quiet. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, like, it was crying for missing what it used to hear of religious knowledge, even near to it. This one is related in Al-Bukhari. Another one, for the benefit of trees, never a Muslim plants a tree, but it has the reward of charity for him. For what is eaten out of it is charity. What is stolen out of that, what the beast eats out of it, what the birds eat out of it, is all charity for him. None incurs a loss to him, but it becomes a charity on his part. This is related in Muslim. Yeah, so you plant a tree, and people benefit from the tree. Yeah, like they take from it, either stolen or given, but you will benefit from that. Yeah, and even also this speaks only about the fruits from the trees, but it's also the shade. You know, people can sit under it in the shade, and that also will help you. Rewarding, you get reward for that too. And even in times of war, the Prophet ﷺ, he gave explicit commands not to damage trees and plants. Yeah, so that was always that only in war situation. It was only you fight the people who fight you, but not damaging the livelihood of people. So the trees, they contribute to a healthy lifestyle and a healthy climate, and that's why it's very important that we protect the trees as much as possible. In the planet, this planet Earth is around 1/3 is covered with trees, and it regulates our climate, and it protects the water supplies, and it nurtures millions of species of animals. Yeah, and many medicines are derived from plants. Yet we destroy 14 to 20 million hectares of tropical rainforest every year in Asia, in Africa, in Central and South America also. Yeah. So and in Europe, 1/3 of the trees, 1/3 of the forest is already damaged by acid rain. Yeah. So in a rapid speed, we actually destroying this planet, yeah, and destroying the trees, which we actually need. We need those trees, but because of mostly greed, people want to make money from it, build houses with it, and they destroy whole forests. And the Quran speaks about that. This planet is given to us as a trust. Yeah, we can use it for our needs, but we cannot exploit it to satisfy our greed. So in chapter 55, ayah 7 and 8, it says, "And the heavens he has raised high. And the heavens he has raised high, and he has set up the rules and order for the balance of justice, in order that you may not transgress the balance of justice." Right? So Allah created this planet in a balance, and we should not destroy that balance. So we need the trees, and we should not cut them all. In chapter 30, ayah 41, it says, "Corruption has appeared over land and water on account of what men's hands have wrought." Yeah, we, with our hands, we destroying the planet. So this planet Earth is given to us as a trust. Yeah, so we should take good care of it. Now there are 70, I give you here 70 reasons that actually why we should plant trees, and we should take care of trees, and we should defend the standing trees. So let us start with number one. Number one, it's the trees, this is the most important one, combat climate change. How so? The excess carbon dioxide, CO2, contributes to climate change. Yeah? And the trees absorb that CO2. Yeah? And removing and restoring the carbon while releasing oxygen back into the air. So in 1 year, an acre of mature trees can absorb the amount of CO2 produced when you drive your car for 41,800 kilometers. Okay, imagine? Yeah, that's all for an acre of mature trees. And besides that, the trees also clean the air. Yeah, so it absorbs odors and pollutant gases like nitrogen, oxygens, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, and ozone. Yeah, and it filters also particulates out of the air by trapping them on their leaves and bark. Yeah, so it cleans the air. That was number two. Number three, it provides oxygen. Right, like I said, it absorbs the CO2 and gives back oxygen, and that's what we need, right? So in 1 year, an acre of mature trees can provide enough oxygen for 18 people. Yeah, so very important. Number four, trees cool down the streets and the city. Yeah, the average temperature has risen 3 degrees in the last 50 years. And because the tree coverage has declined and the number of heat absorbing roads and concrete buildings has increased, right? And so what those roads and those concrete buildings do, they absorb the heat during the day when the sun shines, and then at night when it cools down, then they let that heat go, you know, they give it away again. So then at night also it stays warm and hot. So the trees can actually cool down the city like with 5 degrees, you know, and by shading our homes and the streets, breaking up urban heat islands as well, and releasing water vapor into the air through their leaves. Yeah, so it's very important that the trees stay there. Of course, when you need to build a house or a building, you need maybe to cut some trees, but usually they cut the whole area, you know, and they cut more than actually needed. And then they plant some new little bit, but before those new trees are like full mature trees again, it takes years, many years. And you can also see when they cut a tree, you know, a big tree, 1 meter, like in width, and that takes many dozens of years, you know, to grow that big. And we cut it in 1 day, you know, gone. It's a pity, very sad. Number 5, trees conserve energy. When you would have tree plants planted strategically around your house, for example, you know, then it would can cut the summer air conditioning needs up by 50%. Yeah. So by reducing the energy demands, yeah, from air conditioning, for example, for cooling our houses, we can reduce the carbon dioxide and other pollution emissions from the power plants. Right. So we can help also with the climate change. We can do our part of it, at least. Number 6, trees save water. The shade from the tree slows water evaporation from its surroundings. Yeah, Yeah, so mostly newly planted trees need only like 55 liters of water a week. So as trees transpire, they increase the atmospheric moisture. Number 7, trees help prevent water pollution. The trees, they slow down the flow of water by breaking the rainfall. Yeah, so thus allowing the water to flow down the trunk, go into the soil, the earth below the tree. And this prevents stormwater, yeah, from carrying pollutions into the ocean. So the tree acts like a sponge, yeah, that filters this water naturally and uses its recharged groundwater supplies. Yeah, so it keeps the groundwater there as well. And it helps, very important, number 8 is that it helps to prevent soil erosion. Yeah, so on hillsides or stream slopes, the trees slow runoff and hold the soil in place. Yeah, and this is very important to prevent landslides and to prevent floods. Yeah, you can see where in areas where they cut all the trees from a certain hill, for example, you know, and then heavy rain starts, and then the whole hill will the soil will come down, and it causes mud floods, right, and then landslides as well. So it's very dangerous to do that, and you see that happening, right? Often that it's more and more flooded, and there's mud, you know, all the soil comes down as well. So the trees need to be there, you know. They are for there. Allah planted there for a reason. Eh? Allah made the trees there for a reason, but we are destroying it. Number 9, trees shield children from ultraviolet rays. Skin cancer is one of the most common forms of cancer, and the trees, they reduce the UVB exposure with about 50%, thus providing protection for children, yeah, on school campuses and playgrounds and things like that, yeah, where the children spend hours outdoors. So that helps a lot. Number 10, trees provide food, of course. Yeah, we know the apple tree, but in Malaysia the mango tree, the what other trees? Longan, papaya trees, and I see all kind of fruits that I don't know the name of even, but there are many fruit trees, right? And it will give us a lot of food, but not only human beings, but also it gives food to the birds and other animals, right? The apes, they ate from it as well. So it provides a lot of food. Number 11, trees heal. Studies have shown that patients with views of trees outside their windows will heal faster and have less complications. How about that? And children with ADHD, they show fewer symptoms when they have access to nature. So nature actually calms us down. Yeah, that's why we like to go to the park, right? And we feel calmer there. Yeah, that's the effect trees have upon us. It's also reducing mental fatigue. Yeah, sometimes you feel like stressed out when you're gonna walk in the park, and then the stress level goes down. Yeah? So that's another benefit. Number 12, trees create economic opportunities. Yeah, of course, when you get that fruit from the tree, yeah, then you can sell it, right? You see all the stalls next to the roadside, right? Selling the fruits from the trees. Small business opportunities there, and of course also in the sector of green waste, yeah, management, and there is small business opportunities there as well. Okay, number 13, trees are teachers and playmates. Okay, the children, they love the trees, right? To climb into it, to make like a tree hut, right? A tree house inside. To have a swing on a big branch, right, of a tree, but also human beings. We like to be around trees, as we see it as a retreat, and for creative and spiritual inspiration. We use trees as well. Okay, and now we go to number 14. Trees provide a canopy and habitat for wildlife, of course. Besides housing many animals in the forest, even in cities, there are many trees that provide excellent urban homes for birds and bees and squirrels. Yeah. So the more trees we cut, the more we decrease the habitat of the wildlife. The apes, for example, they need the trees also to live in. And if we cut them all down, where will the apes go? They have to come into the housing areas, right? With all the consequences of that. Okay, number 15. Trees block things. They block things that we might not like to see, like concrete walls or parking lots and this kind of things. Yeah. So, and they also muffle the sound. So when you have like nearby streets or freeways and you have a wall of trees, yeah, that will muffle the sound so that you don't have so much noise from that. Yeah, and it creates an eye-soothing canopy of green, and it also absorbs dust and wind and reduce the glare. Number 16, trees increase property values. So when you have a house and it has nice trees around it and other plants, you know, you have like you have it made well maintained, it increases the value of your house. It can be as much as 15% actually. And then number 17, it increases also business traffic. Can you imagine? Studies have shown that the more trees and landscaping a business district has, the more business will flow in. So a tree-lined street will also slow down the traffic. You know, people are looking around more at what businesses are there instead of like a highway where people are going with a high speed passing by. So these were just 17 points I would like to share with you about the benefits of trees. It's not comprehensive, but you get an idea of the importance of trees and why we should do our utmost best to prevent them from being cut. As we should start in our own neighborhoods. So I hope this was you like this video, and see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.